Sri Ram. They say that when a ghost possesses you, it is very hard to free yourselves from the clutches of a ghost. Well, if that is the power of a ghost, imagine the power of God. When God decides to possess you, no force in the universe can free you from that. But then, why would anyone want any force in the universe to free them from this most beautiful, maddeningly beautiful, magical possession that God does? That is the kind of possession that was experienced by Mr. Ram Mohan Rao, which we saw in the previous edition of this video, the previous episode of that video. In case you have come here directly, I would recommend that you go and visit that video in this link above and then come back to this video so that you get the full joy of this beautiful experience. For those of you who have watched it already and are now proceeding, let me tell you that when Mr. Ram Mohan Rao got to know that Swami had told his mother, I will make him a teacher in my school, he packed his belongings and rushed to Puttaparthi. He took up accommodation in a small tin shed that was erected right beside the Ganesha temple in the entrance of the Prashantinilayam ashram. That time it was there. So he was staying in the tin shed and he wrote a letter to Swami. In that, he opened up his heart and expressed his desire to serve as a teacher in his school or college, and he wanted a reply as soon as possible. And he also put in an application, official application, and in that he has to give his address, right? Because in case they are interested in interviewing him, they have to send a reply back to him. Can you believe it? He was so sure that it will happen immediately that he gave the address of the tin shed next to the Ganesha temple as his address, because he was expecting the letter to come within the next 5-6 days. But then, as we know, God's timing is the perfect and the best, and very rarely we are able to anticipate that, because our timing is often very pathetic. That is why we must have faith in God's timing and have patience. That is what Mr. Ram Mohan had heard from that devotee, right? Devotion without patience is not devotion at all. Shraddha without saburi is not shraddha at all. Shraddha and saburi, devotion, that is faith, and patience and perseverance are two sides of the same coin. A coin cannot exist with only one side. So Mr. Ram Mohan waited there. A couple of weeks passed. No intimation letter came, and he felt that that was it, and he returned back home. But then the yearning in his heart continued to burn. He to shed tears into his pillow, which I spoke about in the previous video, right? Kept crying every day, Swami, I want to come to you. Swami, I want to come to you. It is possible that the Lord was waiting for this fruit to ripen and become perfect to be offered to the Lord, because when the right time came, the most beautiful things happened. After that unsuccessful attempt in 1978, in the summer of 1979, when the academic year was over, Mr. Ram Mohan Rao packed up his bag and baggage and again rushed, this time to the city of Bangalore, because Swami was at Whitefield in Vrindavan in that ashram. When Mr. Ram Mohan landed there, he got to know that the summer classes were on. The summer course in Indian culture and spirituality was a 15 to 30 day course where Swami would deliver discourses every day, and there would be lectures by other erudite scholars on different aspects of Indian culture and spirituality. So there were students from all across India who had gathered there. It was very crowded, and Mr. Ram Mohan Rao got to know that Swami was not granting any interviews now. He was in fact not even collecting many letters. Oh, that came as a shock to him, because he had come here with the hope of personally pleading with Swami for a chance to be a teacher. And then the next blow, the double whammy, came when he got to know that there was no accommodation available for him there. Oh my God, what was he to do? As he was lost in thoughts, he had a friendly pat on his shoulder. There was a gentleman who said, You seem to be looking for accommodation. I don't mind taking you as a paying guest at my home. Why don't you come and freshen up and be there? You will be comfortable. Expressing gratitude for this wonderful stroke of luck, Mr. Ram Mohan followed him and went there. And after that, that person advised him. He told him, see, Swami has gone to the city now. He'll be returning anytime soon. You quickly freshen up, get ready and go and try to have darshan. That is what Mr. Ram Mohan did. He got ready and he was rushing to the ashram. And those of you who have been there to Vrindavan, Bangalore, you will know that right beside the ashram is a railway gate. There's a railway crossing. And when Mr. Ram Mohan was going to the ashram, he noticed that the railway gates were down because the train was going to arrive. And stuck on the other side of the railway gate was Swami's car. He got excited and he rushed towards Swami's car and he was hoping that he could catch a glimpse of Bhagwan. That is when, to his great thrill, the window went down and a beautiful hand with the orange robe came out of the window and beckoned to him, come here. Ram Mohan Rao ran to Swami. Swami asked him, what is your name? Swami Ram Mohan Rao. What do you want? Swami, I want to be a teacher in your school or college. Swami smiled a broad smile at him and nodded his head, saying, yes, you will be a teacher. And then putting his hand outside the window, patted him and blessed him. Then the window went up, the railway crossing opened, Swami's car moved on. But Mr. Ram Mohan Rao was in thrill, he was in bliss. Swami had personally told him, which meant it was now a mere formality. Yes, it is indeed a mere formality once Swami says, but then again, the timing is what matters. Very often we think that Swami promised us something, but it is not happening because we have set a time frame. The Lord is timeless. The time frame for Him is not just months, weeks or years. It is even lifetimes. But you can rest assured that once the Lord has said that He will give, He will give. It reminds me of the amazing experience of Brother Harish. I promise you that your heart will get thrilled and your jaw will drop in awe at that story, which is at this link above. But it only shows that we need to have patience and God gives us at the perfect timing. Now, Mr. Ram Mohan Rao ran to the principal of the Vrindavan college there, Principal Narendra, and he told him, please appoint me as a teacher now. Why? Because Swami told me. He told me that I am his teacher. He will appoint me. Sai Ram sir, very happy to hear that, but let me tell you that Swami has not told me anything and therefore there is nothing we can do. But Swami told me. Oh, Swami tells so many people so many things, but that is between the Lord and the devotee. When it comes to official matters, I can't appoint you as a teacher. Now this was stunning for Mr. Ram Mohan Rao, and he didn't get appointed. He waited out throughout the summer course, at the end of which Swami left Bangalore and went to Puttaparthi, and he was now stuck there. He without a job, without getting his appointment, and all the money that he had was almost finished now, and he got really frustrated. He wrote a letter to Swami and said, Swami, you have promised me and yet it is not happening. What is happening? Everyone says that you are God. It is time that you prove to me that you are God and prove that your word comes true. He threw yet another challenge. Already Prabhu had come, right? We saw it in the first part. Prabhu had come and his challenge had been fulfilled. But now he threw a second test for Swami. It is fine to test God, but we should not repeatedly test. Repeated testing is like daily pulling out the plant to check if the root is growing. Then the plant will die. Once you know that the root is growing, have faith and keep pouring water, knowing that the root is going deeper and deeper. What holds true for the root holds true for our faith as well, holds true for our devotion as well. But then Mr. Ram Mohan Rao threw a second test to Swami. Well, Swami had himself thrown a test for Mr. Ram Mohan Rao. What happened is, he had to go back to his home state of Orissa. He had to go from Bangalore to Chennai, back then it was called Madras, and from Madras he had to take a train to Hyderabad. When he got down in Madras, he suddenly found that his ticket was missing. Oh, where did this ticket go? He kept searching. The train was to leave in an hour or so and there's no ticket. At that time, correctly, the ticket collector comes, asks for his ticket. He doesn't have a ticket, chucks him out of the train. He has barely any money left to buy another new ticket. No ticket. He is caught so many miles away from home. At that time, he sat down, closed his eyes and began to pray, not to one Baba but to two Babas, both Shirdi Baba and Sathya Sai Baba. He began to pray to them with all his heart, please save me, please help me. Any one of you, he didn't know who will work better. So Shirdi Baba and Sathya Sai Baba. Within 15-20 minutes of his prayer, hardly 15-20 minutes left for the train to leave, he hears a voice, who is Ram Mohan Rao? Who is Ram Mohan Rao? He turns around, two gentlemen. Look at this, one tall person and one short person. They come to him and ask, who is Ram Mohan Rao? I am Ram Mohan Rao. Is this yours? The ticket. Yes. Where did you find it? That you don't worry. Now that we have given it to you, give us our dakshina. The choice of words. Dakshina is something you offer to your guru or God. They asked for money. They said, give us our dakshina. And the few rupees that he had, 2, 3 or 4 rupees, he gave it to them because he was left with only 2 or 3 rupees which he will need for his journey, right? He gave it to them and these gentlemen left. He prayed to Shirdi Baba and Sathya Sai Baba, and look at this, a tall person and a short person, and they asked for dakshina as well. It didn't strike to him at that point in time, like it doesn't to many of us. When we pray to Swami, Swami comes to us, dear brothers and sisters. Just because he comes in a manner that we are not expecting, we oftentimes miss him. We have to be alert and tuned to him in our heart, and we will see that he is there everywhere, in the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees. Mr. Ram Mohan Rao got into the train and he didn't know how he could travel the next 2.5 days. He had no money with him. Exactly at that time, a person gets into the train at Masulipatnam, that's also another place in Andhra Pradesh, and he offers to give him 30 rupees on his own. He says, you take this money, it looks like you're in need of money. You take this money, once you reach back home, you can send me the money. Mr. Ram Mohan Rao is extremely grateful to this person and he takes his address. He says, I will send the money order the moment I step into my house. Yes. So that is done. And that is how Mr. Ram Mohan Rao reached back Chhatrapur, reached back his hometown. But to his amazement, when he sent the money order, multiple times he sent, because every time it was returned back to him telling, no such address exists. The Lord had taken a dakshina of 3 rupees, but he had given back 30 rupees. With the Lord, we never lose anything. Anything we offer to the Lord ultimately comes back to us manifold. Just as Mr. Ram Mohan Rao was now wondering whether he would apply back in his school or college, he gets the call letter from Puttaparthi. In July 1979, a letter that had been addressed to the tin shed next to the Ganesha temple has been found by some kind gentleman who has put in the efforts and done the hard work to find out the address of Mr. Ram Mohan Rao and has posted it to him, and this call letter is there. He has been called for an interview because they want teachers at Puttaparthi. Wow! And that is how on the 4th of August 1979, Mr. Ram Mohan Rao found himself in the Ishwaramma school building along with 10 other candidates ready to interview for the post of the English lecturer. Now, in terms of academic qualifications, he seemed to be the least qualified among all because he had passed in a lower grade his examinations and his graduation. But then in his heart was the yearning, Swami, you know it. English is just an excuse. I want to get here for the language of the heart. I love you, Swami. I can't spend time away from you. Please give me a place at your lotus feet. Dear brothers and sisters, the Lord does not call qualified people. He qualifies the people whom He called. That is how it is. So Mr. Ram Mohan Rao was there, ready for the interview, and he began to feel very diffident. He felt his throat going dry. He felt a weakness and he thought he may faint. So he pulled out the vibhuti packet from his pocket and he wanted to take some water, mix it in it and drink so that he can feel better. He went to the clerk who was sitting there, a certain Mr. Mohan Kumar, and asked him, "Can I get some water?" And that clerk got up and said, "Shh! Be quiet! Swami is here. What you're talking so loudly? Go sit back in your place." So, shocked into that, he went back to his place and there was the Lord. Swami himself had come there. And Swami looks at him, smiles lovingly. Swami is holding up the robe with one hand and with the other hand asks him, "What happened? You're looking so weak." Mr. Ram Mohan Rao just folds his hand and stands. What does he need to speak to the one who is the Antaryami, who knows everything? And Swami now waves his hand, materialized vibhuti, and says, "Have this with water." And then, look at this irony. Swami looks at that same clerk who had blasted Mr. Ram Mohan Rao and tells, "Get a glass of water for him." And he runs and gets a glass of water. Swami puts it in and gives it. Dear brothers and sisters, many times in this world, we are off to settle scores. Somebody does bad to us and we want to settle our scores with them. With this episode of the clerk, it just came to my mind that we need not do anything. We just need to focus on our yearning and love for Swami. Those who are our enemies will be taken care of automatically in the way that is best for their progress and in a manner that is 100% best for our progress. Let us leave everything at Swami's lotus feet. Swami gave him that vibhuti water, he drank, he felt much better, and then Swami left. Mr. Ram Mohan Rao got to know that in the floor above there were interviews being conducted and he would have to conduct a class to show that how he will take the English class. And therefore he entered that classroom and there he saw there was Professor Suri Bhagwantam, there was Principal Narendra, there was also Dr. Sudarshan. But then Mr. Ram Mohan Rao's jaw dropped because right in the first bench there was that beautiful figure in orange. Swami himself was sitting and being a student in that classroom. Ram Mohan Rao went there and he took an English class in which he conveyed how important it is to empower children with this language of English. Now all his life, though he was teaching in different schools and colleges, every evening he would collect all the weakest students of the class and conduct classes for them because he wanted them to rise. He wanted them to benefit with this power of language. He was always service-minded in his heart. He would keep doing the seva. And it is possibly the reward for this seva that when he spoke, it is possibly the result of this seva that Swami saw because Swami was looking at him with a glow in his eyes. Having completed his practical test, Ram Mohan Rao returned and the clerk told him that he may go to his room and he will be notified when the results come. However, Ram Mohan Rao didn't have to wait for the official notification because, dear brothers and sisters, that evening as he sat for darshan near the Dashavataram gate there was no Kulwant hall back then, there was no roof, it was the sand days. As he sat there, Swami came to him, looked at him directly into his eyes, into the depths of his heart, into the depths of his very soul and said, "You are selected." And that is how Mr. Ram Mohan Rao, who yearned to be Swami's teacher, who yearned to teach Swami students, who yearned to grow close to Bhagwan, finally became a teacher in Bhagwan's school. 2 decades later, I got the golden opportunity to join the Sri Sathya Sai Higher Secondary School and I had the great privilege of being taught by Mr. Ram Mohan Rao. I owe a lot to this teacher of mine. Dear brothers and sisters, he was the first person who placed faith in me and said, "Arvind, you will become a speaker. You will speak in front of Swami." He yearned and struggled and strived to get me an opportunity to speak in front of Swami. He could not, and at the end of 11th grade, he came to me and said, "Arvind, I tried a lot. You have very great potential. You will be a good speaker. Some reason I am not able to get you an opportunity to speak in front of Swami. Please forgive me. I am trying my best." My heart went out to him. I was very touched with this teacher's efforts. and I get tears in my eyes because I know how much he yearned to get me the chance. So selflessly he did. And today, whatever I am, I'm considered as a speaker, I'm considered as a person who communicates. It is all definitely Swami's blessings and grace, but that blessing and grace has come to me even through some beautiful instruments, and one such instrument is Ram Mohan Rao sir. I owe a great debt of gratitude to him. Sir, if you happen to see this, please accept my heartfelt gratitude, which I convey to you every time I visit you. I'm so happy to have had you in my life. I'm grateful to Swami from this, and more than English, what I have learned from Ram Mohan Rao sir is to yearn for Swami, crave for Swami, pine for Swami, cry for Swami, not be satisfied with anything less than Swami. Let all the pillows in our homes become sponges to take in our tears, but may those tears be our vehicles to get into Swami's heart. Praying to Swami that our love for him keeps growing stronger every passing moment. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.